And welcome back to Monetize Your Mind. We're going to finish up today with Mike Wolf, MikeWolfTV.com. You've got great material there. He's really talking about how to create the life that you want. And with that, Bob?
Mike, you brought someone with you on one of your trips to Dallas that you introduced me to, and he was one of your students. And I was kind of amazed because he was just kind of a blue-collar worker. He was just a common guy. And yet you were teaching him how to prepare himself for a life like you have, getting passive income.
Exactly, and you know, I like to practice what I preach, obviously, and it does attract a certain demographic of people that say, you know, that's what I want. I want Mike to teach me how to get what he's managed to create in his life. And so Jocelyn, who he's from Montreal, Canada, he actually started off as somebody who was very skeptical of me because he'd never heard of me, and I had sent out an email to my list, and one of his friends was on my list, and it was inviting people to a conference in Banff, which is in the mountains in Canada. It's just a beautiful spot. It was a retreat, and we were going to have a little workshop that weekend. And if I remember correctly, I was charging $1,500 for it. And so he phoned me up, and he basically said, well, I'd love to go to Banff. I don't really care about you. I just need an excuse to go there. And so I'd be willing to pay $500 because that's what other people in the industry, they charge for these little workshops. And I go, well, the biggest difference is their workshops are meant to upsell you to something expensive. They're not going to give you a lot of value in that weekend. They're going to get you there, and then you're going to buy something else that's maybe $30,000 or $15,000 or whatever it is. And I said, my workshop, you're actually going to do work. You're actually going to leave there with certain skill sets. And at the end of the day, you're going to be able to actually do something and monetize the stuff that you learned. And so he started off very skeptical, and it's kind of ironic because he ended up, he happens to work for the airline, so he can fly for really cheap. So he actually flew to Calgary to meet with me to do lunch. He wanted to pick my brain before we even did this Banff thing. And he asked me a whole bunch of questions, and when he heard about my lifestyle and saw that I was genuine and real, he got really excited. And he started off from somebody being very skeptical to somebody who ended up coming on one of my tours, and I taught him how to do tax deeds in Houston, Texas. And then he ended up being one of my mentor students who actually comes with me on the road. He travels around and gets to see how I actually do my business, how I live, and meet some of the people that are important in my life, such as yourself. And so it's kind of ironic. He started off very, very skeptical, like I said, and he became one of my top students, and now he's just out there and just crushing it. So he's doing very well.
How could somebody connect with you? How could somebody learn more about and begin a relationship with you?
Well, I suggest I have a lot of free content out there on the web. I've got my own YouTube channel. The best place to start is at MikeWolfTV.com. That's MikeWolf TV.com, and that'll get you on my list. You'll be on my radar so we can start communicating. But you can also phone me toll free, 1-888-265-0662. That's 1-888-265-0662. You're always going to get me. You're not going to get, you know, a secretary or an assistant. I love to deal one-on-one with people, and I love chatting with people, especially if it has to do with real estate or passive income or just happiness or life in general.
You go to a lot of conferences and you love learning like I do. If you were going to a conference in a particular city and it was near someone, would you be willing to meet someone in that city
Anytime,
and
absolutely.
connect up?
I do that all the time. I have a lot of clients all over North America, and whenever I'm in a city that they're in, I'll always call them up and say, hey, let's go for coffee. And you know, I love, to me, this is a passion. It's not a job. It doesn't feel like a chore. You know, a lot of times people will phone me up with a real estate question. They'll say, well, I'm sorry to bug you. I know you're really busy. I go, that's not bugging me. This is what I love to do. If I didn't love doing it, I wouldn't be doing it. So, you know, people always say, well, don't you get sick of the travel? You're always traveling. Don't you get sick of living out of hotels? No, if I didn't like it, I don't have to do it. I'm not doing it because I have to. I'm doing it because I want to. And so, you know, that's a big distinction, is that I love meeting people. It's not a chore, and I love talking real estate, and I love just talking in general. So, absolutely.
Do you speak as well on different platforms? Can somebody contact you to speak on their platform as well?
Yeah, absolutely. I would gladly speak just about anywhere, and absolutely. So once again, you can call me at that same number. I'd be happy to do that, and vice versa. If you have something that might look good on my stage, I always like to collaborate with people as well.
Very good. Very good. Bob, any last questions?
What would you like to leave our listeners with? What thought would be a good ending thought for us?
Well, I think a good ending thought might be, you know, this is a time right now to create that passive income, whether it be through real estate or something else. I love real estate, but it doesn't have to be your vehicle of choice to get there. But don't rely on the government to, for your retirement, and get financially literate. Start to learn some things on how to, better handle your own money. Don't let other people manage it that aren't looking out for your best interest. And so it's really important to keep educated, and that's why I'm still learning myself. I've been doing this for a long time, but I'm always learning, and I'm open-minded to know that I don't know everything. As a matter of fact, I know very little. I'm very good at some very specific things, but there's a lot of things that I'm really bad at, and I'm fortunate enough to have the right people and right teams to back me up on all the things that I'm not good at. But a lot of it comes down to education, because you don't know what you don't know, and that's the stuff that's very dangerous to you.
So it sounds to me like it's important that each of us take responsibility to monetize our own mind.
Absolutely. That is very true. I would agree with that 100%.
And Bob, with you, how can people connect with you? Monetize Your Mind is obviously out there for folks that are trying to get published and grow their influence.
The easiest website to remember is bobbear.com, B-O-B-B-A-R-E. We also have segerpublishing.com, but it's S-E-G-R publishing.com.
One of these days you're going to have to tell us what that means, because there's a story behind Seger Publishing. And if you do want to become an author that is published with 25,000 plus distribution points, you should connect to Bob Bear. Bob is a great program, like today with Mike WolfTV.com. Mike has been able to plug into what Bob is already doing to help Mike create even more of a circle of influence, so that his impact can really probably change nations. I'm so thankful for you guys being on the show today. Monetize Your Mind. Bob Bear, Pat Dewar. We'll talk to y'all next time.
You can become a published author. Discover a system that will lead you from idea to having your book on the bookshelves. Bob Bear pulls back the curtain at the More Power to Publish workshop. Watch and learn how to follow the step-by-step plan to turn your idea into a published book. Learn more at morepowertopublish.com.